All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a quick what's in the bag video. So I have been asked, not a lot, but over an extended period of time, I've been asked multiple times to see exactly what's in my bag. If you're live on Twitch right now, this is going to be really short, guys. So let's get into it. We're going to go straight into the locker. We're going to talk about what I have in my bag, why I use it, and then you can make your own decisions from there. I don't think anything here is a one-size-fits-all. I think you can kind of work, things for yourself and do things that help your game specifically. So we'll get right into it. All right. I guess overall, we don't use a hybrid. I've talked about it before, but that's mostly for the skills section. I don't have to spend any of my points, any of my skill points on having hybrids in the bag. That's the main reason I do it. That's really the only reason I do it. And then, from there I can put everything on my irons, driver, and mostly on my putting, which we'll go over that later on. I guess we'll include that as part of the video, but we'll start with spacing, I guess. Why I space my clubs the way I did. So driver, obviously we're getting as much power as we can. And feel free to, screenshot or do whatever you need to do throughout this video. But we also maxed out, or close to maxed out power on the 3-wood. We got it to 265. I like my 3-wood to be really long. There's a big gap between the driver and the 3-wood, and there's obviously some holes you can reach, some par 4s and use that 3-wood to your advantage. The big gap we have is the 265 to 231. The reason why I don't mind having a big gap here is because I can partial a 3-wood. I can maybe punch a driver, which is I think it's like 245 for a driver punch. It's a yardage you don't use that often, from like 240 to 250, where you're really just kind of in the middle and you can't shape your way out of it. And it's so long that even if you had a club for it, you're probably not hitting a good shot there most of the time anyway. So it really doesn't matter, at least to me. All right, so 3-iron, 231. I think it's a good yardage. That's like a lot of the good players use hybrids that are around this range, right? They're like 230 to 235. It's personal preference, guys. As you can see, I don't even have all legendary fittings. You're going to see that along my bag. My bag could be a little bit better. And I don't care enough to get 3 more points in swing path. It doesn't matter to me. It's close enough. The purple fittings I have are good on their own. So to me, I don't stress about that. If you're going to get good at the game, you're going to be good at the game, regardless of if your timing is 74 or 72, right, on this club. So it's you're going to be good anyway. You really need to focus most of your time on actually playing the game. The fittings do matter to a point, but once you get close to all legendary fittings, it really doesn't matter anymore. You just shape them out to your game, put it on what you want to put it on, and then you work it from there. So anyway, 231, next club down. A lot of our spacing, our big gaps are in this, driver to 4-iron range, and then the gapping gets a lot better. I'll tell you why I gap my clubs the way I do. So 230 to 210, another 20-yard gap. Again, there's not a ton of shots in this game over 200 yards. Obviously, you get them on the par 5s, and you might get 1 or 2 par 4s on a course that you're using a long iron in on your second shot. Very rarely do you get more than 2. And that's on any course. Even in plat, you don't get a lot of that in this. So to me, it doesn't matter. So 210, here's what I've done with everything. You're going to notice that, like I said, I don't have all legendary fittings. I don't think it's super important. I think as long as you have good fittings across the board, you'll be okay. So 210 for the 4-iron, go down to a 5-iron, 198. 12-yard distance. It's perfect. It's perfect. I could loft a 4-iron and lose 6 yards. if I needed to get to 204. I could deloft the 5 iron a little bit. There's ways to make up 10 yards, which you all know about. But so there it is, 198, and then you go down to 188, 10 yards difference. You'll notice a lot of what I do. I've gotten some timing and swim path on a lot of these, so 85, 86 on both of these clubs. I think most of my irons have the exact same fittings. Yeah, they do. So all my fittings are the same on all these irons until I get down to the 9. But 7 iron, 177, 11-yard gap. Again, it's perfect. I can work around with loft and all this stuff. 166, 157. So that's only 9 yards, but we getting a lot of shots. You'll notice my clubs start to get tight in this like 160 to 140 range. The reason for that, you get a ton of second shots in like the 130 to 160 range. So at 166, you can loft 160, no problem. We have this 157 if the number's not quite right. If you want to just hit a full stock shot, you can do that with this. And then you have 151. So that's 9-yard difference and a 7-yard difference. You have 3 clubs where you can hit stock. You don't have to loft. You don't have to make the swing harder than it has to be. In a range where you get a lot of shots in this game. You're going to get a lot of shots in this. Again, 143. That's 8 yards. In this 140 to 160 range, I think it's critical that you have options in this range. A lot of people are not going to agree with that take. They don't have spacing like I do. I'm pretty rare, I think. I don't see a lot of bags that have spacing like mine. My sand wedge goes 127 yards. Most people's sand wedges are going like maybe 100 to 110 yards, something like that. Like a lot of people opt to have their wedges at like 90 to 110. I have my wedges at 113 to 143. And then I use my pitch shots from, 50 yards to 100 yards. It's something I do that a lot of people don't. It works for me. It may not work for you, right? So there we go, 127 and then 113. The reason why I have a big gap here is because you can actually de-loft down this one. It's actually 112. It says 113 here, but when you play the game, it's 112. I can de-loft this down to like 130. So I can make up distance there, and I can loft this 127 to like 100 yards almost. So there's a lot of things you can do with these clubs that I'm okay having a big space here, basically. And then there's my putter. Most of it's on putt weight. I think putt weight's incredibly important. So there's that. We'll go quickly into the skills. I'm not going to go over everything. Take a screenshot. If you want to copy me, fine. If you don't, no problem. You'll notice putting is huge for me. It's huge for me, except for this greenskeeper. Stay away from it. That's all I can say. Stay away from it, and you'll be happy. Take a screenshot. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. If you want me to go more in detail on anything, let me know in the comments, guys. If you like this, drop a like for me. Subscribe if you're new. And let me know what you want to see next as far as beginner skills, flop shots, pitch shots, whatever you want to see. Let me know. I'll drop you a short video on it. And yeah, that's it. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time.